Hey, we're back. He said, she said, the podcast, and they're here with us.
Hey,
What's good? How y'all doing?
and we're here with them. Love is Black. He said, she said.
Okay. So I should have said it. Okay.
Crossover episode.
Crossover. I like that. You know.
Oh, the crossover.
Yeah. That's dope.
That's it.
Yeah,
My thesis. Boom.
Right.
Welcome and thank you for having us and for us having them.
Yeah.
And that complete crossover.
Having
That's
each
cool.
other. Yes.
Yes, having each other. I like that. We talk about Black love and we do it as a couple, but I listen to you guys. I find other podcasts, but a podcast talking about love, relationships, whatever, and single. And I think that's why we wanted to have you guys on so we can get that different perspective.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to start with this question. I was reading, I guess, your description for your podcast, and it's two childhood friends coming together to talk about life from two different perspectives, male and female. We are here to get people talking. Let's get real to heal.
Yeah.
What are we healing from?
Listen.
Go ahead.
We were just in discussion about healing, but honestly, we're healing from previous relationships, previous childhood trauma, which affects our attachments and how we even bond with others. And we're talking about friendships. So we've both, and as well as our producer EC, have dealt with various things in relationships, whether platonic, whether family, whether romantic. And so we want to get people talking. Like, our goal when we discuss is to have people talking in their own areas when they're listening to the podcast and they need to pause it, do that, or even afterwards. So the one thing that I was told when I was on my healing journey, I'm gonna be quiet eventually, you know. One thing I was told on my healing journey when I was seeking counseling was, the more I tell my story, the easier it's going to become and the more I'm going to heal. And so that's what I want people to do, is heal out loud in safe spaces though. So that's what we want people to do. Yeah.
I mean, I think the main basis is we just want to make it easier to have those uncomfortable conversations, you know, within the relationship. It just friendship, relationship, or just in life in general, basically.
Right. Yes, I love that. It's very important that we open up and have these conversations. And I think that the value here, what we have is that when we're talking on our podcast, we typically are just talking from married people's perspective. Like, neither one of us have been single in about 14 years. And so when we hit on some of those single topics, I think we're a little bit dated.
A little bit. That's all right.
And for the best reason possible. Listen. Yes. But yeah, there's so much to talk about, because I feel like even the dynamics of COVID and the pandemic have changed the dating world so much so than I could have even possibly imagined as somebody who was just trying to survive marriage in that situation. And so, oh wow, he's looking at me like you don't know.
Right.
You got to survive
marriage.
Yes.
He will survive.
Struggle.
Oh my God, I made it through another Monday night tonight.
All trying to survive out here. But what I'm saying is that, you know, every day it's a choice to continue to stay married, or continue to fight for it, or continue to stay in that relationship, whatever your situation may be. And so let's just talk on that just a little bit. Like, what is dating like after the pandemic? Go ahead, B.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm like actively dating like that per se, but it's very different. You know, everybody is careful. I think the main way of meeting people nowadays is, you know, via the internet, dating websites and things of that sort. So it's not so much you know, you go into the coffee shop or the library or church to meet somebody. It's more or less this dating, you know, this dating website or this dating app. And then, you know, going from there pretty much. I think that's the biggest change that has happened, you know, since the pandemic. Thank you. But yeah. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed is, one, I'm an introvert already, and then I'm a single mother already. So it's like my time is limited. So I definitely have become more intentional about who I spend my time with and how I spend my time, my free time, that is.
Yeah.
You know, and then also with the pandemic, just even, I think I've asked almost everyone, which is really a HIPAA question, but it's like, are you vaccinated? Because I work in a geriatric setting, like with, and so I don't want to possibly carry COVID to them, or, you know, be carrying it to my facility as well. So I think that's a big thing. I've never asked anyone about being vaccinated. And then even, yeah, like you said, the online scene, because I think before COVID, I was kind of like, dating online, I don't know about that.
Right.
But definitely became more open to that, but also something that
It's
you
the new norm now,
right.
if you think about it.
Right.
It really is.
Yes. I've had two friends actually be found by their husbands on dating websites, and are happy 5 years in. You know, it was before COVID, but still now it's just kind of normal.
Yeah.
One thing though that you have talked about, B, was kind of the eruption of some mental health concerns just after COVID.
100%. Yeah.
Like noticing that in people
Yeah.
who are pursuing.
I think the thing with the pandemic is it really brought everybody's life to a complete screeching halt, you know, with everything shut down. And so when you don't have that day-to-day life, you know, distractions in life, it really makes you sit and like with yourself and deal with yourself and whatever things that you may or may not have had happen in your life or that's going on. And it's just like, okay, well, I don't have my daily life distractions going on right now. So it's now you're really having to sit and like deal with some things and think about some things. So I think it brought out a lot of, you know, a lot of demons, a lot of trauma, a lot of issues that people may have had that wouldn't have even realized they had they been able to continue with their normal day-to-day routine. But when everything shut down, you can't go nowhere. You really can't do nothing. You're forced to stay home with your children or your significant other, spending all this extra time that you're not accustomed to. I think it really was, in a sense, traumatizing in some way, form, or fashion to a lot of people, which now I think it's really bringing out a call for attention to mental health, because a lot of people are realizing these issues that they didn't necessarily have that are now at the forefront, and they don't know how to deal with it, you know?
Right. And I think too, like where you're like, people can't get away from the distractions in their everyday life. During COVID, I was working at a religious organization as like the director of care staff, and the number of increased addictions, the number of increased just like overall, just trying to escape. Domestic violence increased. We saw that a lot. And then the number of deaths, of course. So it affected people in a major way. And then how did that affect the dating pool? I remember I went on a date during COVID, and people are like, how did you go on a date during COVID? Well, he asked me, we checked to make sure we were vaccinated. And then we drove to a restaurant, ordered out, ate our food in a parking lot in the rain. And this was somebody I knew, though. It wasn't like a first date. I mean, it was a first date, but I had known them. I had history with them. So I knew they were safe. But during that time, they actually started crying during the date, because it was just like, there was just so much, and they were actually able to be out and have somebody listen to them face to face. So, you know, it affects that way. And if you don't have that capacity in the moment, it could really kind of make you shy away too. Yeah.
So since we're talking about, you know, COVID and such, B, since you had a lot of time to yourself, obviously, like we all did you learn anything about yourself kind of being in in your space without anybody?
Well, actually during the pandemic, I was in a relationship, but we later broke up towards the end of that year, but we were already having issues anyway. But no, I mean, honestly, yeah, I've learned a lot about myself. I mean, I would probably go as far to say as I may have self-diagnosed myself on some things, you know what I'm saying? But I think well, not to toot my own horn, but I like to credit myself in being able to just the self-awareness and the accountability and being able to work through those things myself. So, but I mean, I'm definitely a different person I'm a lot more understanding. I think I'm less stubborn and stuck in my ways, like whatever. I wasn't that
Hercules.
I wasn't that bad, but no, I definitely, I think I, even though I think outside the box, I try to be more empathetic, I should say. That's a huge thing with me, because I'm just like, listen, that's all great, but I'm gonna need you to kind of get over it, because, and I'm like, I can't be like that. I need to be a little more, I'm a little more open and empathetic. And I think that's huge, because it helps me maybe understand a little more what someone's going through, and how they feel, as opposed to me being in my head and thinking, well, okay, this is what I would do in that situation. So why are they tripping?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really made me realize and understand that, hey, everybody don't think like me, and I don't think like everybody else. So it's opened my mind to being more open than I already am about a lot of things.
But I also think that it's helped you accept more things about yourself, so then you're more accepting of other people too.
Yeah.
Like that self-awareness has allowed you to say, okay, if I went through this, even though I pulled myself out of it, I understand and have that empathy to know what they're going through, but I can give them a little understanding. And we were talking earlier off camera just about a situation that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just discussing, like, there is sometimes like your trauma can affect certain situations and cause a behavior, or you choose a behavior based on that. And it doesn't always make the behavior, it doesn't make it justified, but just actually having an understanding and an awareness of where it's coming from sometimes allows, just you to know what's below that iceberg. And so again, it doesn't justify, but it does help bring some understanding. Yeah.
I love that.
Sorry, that was your question.
No, it's all good.
That's totally fine. I think to kind of play off of that a little bit, once you learn a little bit more about yourself, and especially since the two of you have such a great close friendship where you're expressing to each other and getting to know each other better as the time goes by, what do we feel about dating by referral, like recommending a friend or so for each other to date? Is that a thing?
Yeah, well,
I mean, she's tried it. She's tried it,
but that was not under recommendation from
you. I mean, my thing is, right now I'm just not open to dating. I use the term retired. They don't like it, but I've been kind of closed off to dating for a while. But I mean, a lot of my friends are already married, and then the ones that aren't married, like, no.
No.
I mean, well, and plus, like, my thing is like, I legit actually think of her as a sister. Mm-hmm. Like, even though we're not blood, but in my mind, we're brother and sister. Mm-hmm. So you already know how that goes, where like all my friends, my sister's off limits, mm-hmm. So yeah, I wouldn't.
But I think the underlying, where I talked about the iceberg, was underlying is B and I both know that a referral is kind of telling each other what to do or what we should do. And that and that doesn't work well with either one of us. So one thing that, we might do is be like, hey, have you talked to this person? Have you thought about this person? But that's as far as it goes. And then if something occurs, then we'll celebrate. But it's really kind of a chill referral. Just take a look. Take a look.
Yeah, you do you, I'm gonna do me. But hey, here's a recommendation you might want to explore.
Right. And if you don't, I'm not pressuring you. If you do, I'm gonna be here and support it, and what either way.
Right.
So that's us.
I love that.
How did you guys meet though? I'm just curious.
We met at work.
We both used to sell cable over the phone. And
One of us did it better than the other.
one of us, I'm not gonna say who, but yeah. Needless to say, just to give you enough to make this story as interesting as it can be, is I grew up when I was like 18, I was like, I'm never getting married. Never. I'm not doing it. My parents got married, divorced, both got married, both got divorced again. Like, I'm not doing it. People around me, it's not working out. It's a wrap. Marriage is for the birds. It's a wrap. No, I'm not doing it. I walked into work one day and saw this one, and I was like, that's my life. Like,
Yes.
big game until you see who. And I saw her, and then she was dating somebody else there. So I had to kind of wait for all that. And he was a mess. It was just a matter of time. Everybody around us knew that I was feeling her except her, which I guess happens. And I'm waiting, whatever. Then finally, one of us got relieved of our duties at the job, which worked for me because I had a rule that I had said was that I would never date anybody I worked with again, because I made that mistake before. I wasn't going to do that again.
Mhm.
I don't blame you.
Her duties, which opened up.
I thought we weren't gonna mention that.
One of us.
Somebody no longer had to go to that building.
Right.
So after that, then I waited, and then we got together, and pretty quick, I knocked her up. We got married. Boom, boom, boom. 13 plus years married later. 14 years knowing each other, and I knew I was going to marry her. She doesn't believe me. She's not the hopeless romantic. I was like, you the one. Like, she doesn't believe in that. But
He said, what I don't believe in is that he said it was love at first sight. He loved me from the minute he saw me. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. You don't know who I am. I could have opened up my mouth and sounded a whole kind of a fool. And he was like, nope, would have loved you. Like, that don't make no sense. That's the part that doesn't make sense.
and my response to that is, does love make sense at all?
It don't, but I agree with her. Yeah.
Wow.
And I agree with you, Harvey. So
Each of us has somebody on that side.
I can't. I
Like
can't
that.
get with that.
he doesn't.
This, I think this brings up, we'll go with this. So we're kind of talking about our relationship. So we're getting together, and one thing I told her, and I like to hear both of your responses, is we got together, and I'm like, I don't know about getting married, but you the one. There's one thing that I cannot do. We can make it do anything. You cheat, it's a wrap. It is over.
That's fair.
Thank you. That's fair.
That's fair.
That
You
is.
know? And I've heard it from every side, like, well, willing to work on it, blah, blah, blah. Like, you were willing to work on the marriage, and you was messing with old boy in that
part.
doing whatever. So,
Disrespectful.
thank you.
I agree. I think it is disrespectful. However, I'm more of the, like, I'm in it for the long haul. Once we decided we were going to get married, if we were dating, that was something different. Once we decided we were going to get married, I'm like, that's it. I have no deal breakers.
That's not true. You do have a deal.
I have one deal breaker. If he wakes up one morning and realizes he's gay, I can't grow a penis. So there's
Right.
no way
Right.
around that.
No competition.
Okay.
Outside of that, I have no deal breakers. So anything I'm willing to work through. And so that's where we disagree a little bit. I'm not saying it's not disrespectful. I'm not saying that cheating and recovery from cheating and infidelity in a relationship is going to be easy. We're definitely going to have an uphill battle if we have to overcome that, but it's not something I'm just willing to throw away everything for. So
I don't know. See,
I think where he's going with that is to ask you guys what your opinions are on
Right.
infidelity.
Well, Harvey, my question to you is, do you still have that as your,
yes.
okay, even 14
Yeah.
years in, kids and everything? Okay.
See, to me, that makes it even more apparent. To me, like, we got married with that knowledge. She knew that.
Right.
You don't get to come to me and say, oh, it was a mistake. No, it wasn't. You was
Right.
fully aware of what you did, and you knew how to respond to the situation. So it's not a mistake. You decided to end the relationship. To say I'm willing to fight for it, you wasn't willing to fight for a marriage when you was an old boy in the apartment. That's what I'm saying. So
Right.
that's my response to it. So,
Right.
because I know for sure I will not cheat. I can tell you that 100%. I can't say that about a lot of things. I'm not going to cheat. If it got to that point where I was feeling somebody else, then, but I'm never doing that. But that's just me.
So I guess before we answer the infidelity question, what do you guys consider, or Harvey, what do you consider infidelity first?
That's a big question.
Go ahead.
Say
Like-
yes.
Go ahead.
my thing is that I think emotional cheating I think what he's referencing specifically
It's
is
physical.
physical
Okay.
sexual cheating.
Right.
I feel like if there was any sort of emotional cheating, that would be a bigger deal for me. That would be
Yes.
something we have a more difficult battle to overcome.
Mhm. Okay.
That doesn't surprise me.
I know, right? Because I'm like, I feel like with women and just our hormones,
Emotional.
it's the emotional part, because
Mhm.
that's really
Driven.
it's really the gateway to cheating for, I feel like, more women. So if a man forms an emotional bond with a woman, oof. But then physical, I'm like, I get where you're saying, because men are more physical too.
Yeah,
Or
we've had
most
this
men are
conversation
physical.
before.
I don't want to
Definitely.
be a stereotype. We have had it before. As far as infidelity, what line do we toe? Why are you looking at me?
I'm just waiting for you to answer the
Bring
question.
it on, B. Let's hear it, man.
We already
mean-
no, he knows.
I mean, given past histories. Yeah.
We play no games. Yeah, I was married before, and I play. We don't play games. Not infidelity.
It's an absolute deal breaker for you, huh?
Absolutely.
Like zero
Absolutely.
chance.
Zero.
I get it. I get it.
Zero. You got to start deleting stuff and hiding stuff and then no. Right.
Yeah, we've had full-on discussions about which one we think is worse, and I've very much been on that physical side and the emotional side, and they're both bad to me.
That's that part.
I find the act of the physical, that's I think what it is to me. And I mean, I don't think I'm right. It's just my opinion. Is that to me, I imagine what it requires to physically cheat. To me, it's chances are you got to lie about something, lie about who you with, lie about what you're doing, all that stuff. I understand the emotional part of it. It's somebody you're connecting with. Probably you shouldn't be. You're probably talking to them more than you're talking to your spouse. There's a lot to it. Bills. So I understand both sides of it, but I think because in a way, as men, we tend to be more visual.
Mhm.
I in my head, I'm gonna
Tell me.
imagine some dude with my wife, and that's the problem. So
Yeah, and I'm more of, and B does not always agree, but I feel like no woman should know more about my
Oh,
man
here you go.
than me. Like real talk, I'm like, if you have an issue, a concern, a question, come to me. Don't go talk to so-and-so. Like, no, and then have them schooling me on you. No woman should be able to tell me about my man.
I don't want to cut you off, but that leads to, I think, the question. You end up getting together and you find somebody and you get married. I feel right now the man sitting next to you knows a whole lot about you. It knows you really well. So
Listen here, sir.
Where's the line?
That is the most amazing point.
No, because I just saw something where they were like,
hold on,
I can't get with a woman with a male best friend.
I need to greatly appreciate that point, because I had never thought about that. And kudos to you, because that is huge. Seriously though, because that's a very good point. That's a very, because I do have another best friend that is also a female. So like, that's crazy.
It's interesting.
How do you respond to that?
How I respond to it is communication is the key for me. So right up front, and when I'm meeting someone, when we're having conversations, I'm telling them, hey, I have a lot of male friends, but I have a male best friend. Like, he was the man of honor at my wedding.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So, and honestly, he helps them more. He helps them out. He helps me sustain, because I be ready to dip.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I asked them, are you okay with that? And if they aren't, I haven't met someone who has verbalized that they weren't okay. I have ended up in a relationship where they said they were okay. And then later on down the road, when I ended up talking to B, not about them, but just about, and I was on my way to them. They're like, well, you didn't call me on the way. You were talking to Byron. It's like, I'm coming to your house. So I feel like we do have certain boundaries though, when we get in relationships. And one of the things we talked about in our Friends Only episode is that we make sure that when we have significant others, that we are acknowledging them, that we are embracing them too. We do have inside jokes. I mean, but we will take the time to explain it if we need, because we don't want anybody feeling uncomfortable. And then we do back off the communication as much to make the person feel as comfortable as possible. What do you think?
No, I'm with you there. I think the biggest thing is that we try to become friends with our, when we have, so it's no situation where they feel like they're being left out or they don't feel welcomed. Like even anytime we get together, like, are you bringing so-and-so or, so it's never a situation where we're like leaving the significant others out.
Right.
So it's like, we want to develop that relationship with them as well. Cause I'm like, well, if you're going to be dating my sis, then I need to be cool with you because like, first of all, I need to know who my sister's dating for, before we even get to that part. But, I'm always come at you, try to be friends and, get to know you. Cause I don't want you to feel as if we got something to hide or we're creating a situation where it's going to make you uncomfortable or not feel safe. Right. Being like, oh, well, she's with Byron again. What are they doing? Right. How come I don't never get invited? Stuff like that.
Yeah. So we are proactive in that. Like when we start dating people and they are going to be significant in our life, we will have a double date. Yeah. Or we're going out to karaoke together and having discussions and really forming a bond. We're becoming Facebook friends on social media, following each other. Like there's no secrets. We really are transparent. We're open and embracing to everyone. Now, when if the breakups happen, it's like we got to do a custody battle because I might like his significant. But we do have that. I have the discussion. I'm like, B, listen, do you want me to unfriend them? No, and he'll ask the same thing. And it's not a gang mentality, but it's like, what do you feel comfortable with?
I mean, I don't care. Like, if you want to continue being friends, that's your business. That's fine. I'm like, who am I to tell you who you can and can't associate with?
Right.
Just because we didn't work out don't mean y'all don't have a good relationship still. Right. So that doesn't bother me. It's never bothered me.
But there are some times where if they post something that's a little borderline and I'm like, yeah, I have to like check, like, hey, is that about you? Because I'm the guilty one on social media. I will respond like, yes, girl, 100%. And then it's like, you are. And then it's like, yeah, we just had an argument. I'm like, oh man, I am loyal, I promise. So then I got to remove my reaction and my comment. But we do have it can get kind of sketchy. But yeah, you were right, Harvey. And I realize there are some men who are like, nah, I ain't talking to nobody who has a male best friend. But I mean, like we are childhood.
Yeah, we grew up together, like through in church. Everything. So it's like, yeah, we had sleepovers because even our siblings are cool. So we've known each other literally all of our lives.
Like people don't like really. We grew up in a church that all the kids our age. Yeah. We just decided whose house are you at? Whose house are we all at this weekend? And we had co-ed sleepovers, and it was none of that. Yeah. None of that. Like, oh no, the parents knew, they trusted us. They knew that they were going to be home. It was that kind of party. So it's like, honestly, if something could have popped off, it would have by now. But
it's that line has never been crossed.
Like no.
Yeah.
No. So now though, B, if you had a lady with a male best friend like that, how would you feel?
Me personally, I wouldn't care. Like growing up, I've always been in an environment where men and women can be friends, and that's not an issue. So the only time I would take issue with it is if, he's like, he only wants to hang out with you and not me. And I'm just like, well, why he always wants you around, but he don't want me around? Like, that's the only time I'm gonna be like, something's not right. And especially being a man, knowing how men can think and knowing how men can be, I'm like, nah, because if I was in that situation, that would be the card that I would play. And I'm like, something's not right. And then I would voice that opinion. But if she got a male best friend, I'm cool with that. Look, I need another dude I can watch a game with. I'm with that. So that yeah. I don't have no problems with that at all.
And I feel the same way as far as female friends. I do want to meet them, and then I feel like they shouldn't have any issue meeting me. I think we're saying the same thing there, because I know how women can be as well. And I think there's just kind of the boundary discussion, like when we're in our relationship, like what are we sharing, what are we not sharing? I mean, in the beginning of situations, like I tell B everything, because like there are times where B's like, Morgan, he shot his shot right there, and I'm like, he ain't shoot no shot, he just being nice. And he's like, no, Morgan, he's really, and I'm like, well, then he should be more direct. And he's like, that was being direct for him, so he him and he's be like, Mo, like that's
like
it.
he literally asked you out. What do you mean you don't know?
He's like, no, you got to tell me, like date time, everything. So a lot of times they actually help them more than hinder. Like it's very rare that B might say, Morgan, that they actually said that sounds off, that so yeah. So do you guys have male and female friends?
Very early on, he had a very close female friend that he was very open with. He said, in the past, people have told me that they couldn't date me unless I stopped talking to her. And so you want me to stop talking to her? Because I'll stop talking to her. And I was like, why would you stop talking to your friend? Like that don't even make you sound like a good person. Like, no.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You got to keep your friend.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But there's a certain level of loyalty too, I see.
Yeah.
Like, like, hey, you're my future and we gonna be good. Like there were years where I was watching, I was in isolation. And I was in isolation from a lot of things just due to my circumstance. But it's like you understood for the most part,
Well, that's what good friends do, though.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm never gonna. I don't feel as if I want to have to make you choose, or my thing is I just want to add to your life. I don't want to change it.
You better come on and enhance.
So that's my biggest thing. So I'm never gonna. It's never gonna be a situation where I'm be like, no, you gotta. Only if I feel there's a reason, if there is a legit reason, valid reason, then we will have a conversation and I will just express my, concern. But other than that, I'm just here to add, not change. So.
But I'm like, that transparency is important. Like, don't be saying that we're just friends when y'all had a history of something else.
Right.
Talking about they're my cousin, and we don't play them games and play cousins. But anyway, I'm sorry. You had the friend, and
So one of my best friends, I've known her for the longest time from another job way back, and she's the one that had actually told me about the job that I went to where I met her. So she was there, but we've been friends forever. She was the DJ at our wedding.
Yeah.
They
remain friends.
Yeah, we're still friends. That's never changed, but that wasn't a concern. So I don't think that would bother me. I'm not really jealous. That's not my thing. That's another thing. I'm kind of random with that. I said that to her. Listen, I have really had no intention of ever getting married, but you're the one. But if I'm going to marry you, I have to trust you. So good or bad, I trust you. So I don't know how you feel about the lack of jealousy from me, but I'm not. I have to walk in on you doing something, because I have to believe in you. Otherwise, this can't work out. So that's just the way that I've always seen relationships, to my detriment possibly. But I have to trust you. You say something, I have to believe you. I'm not checking your phone. I'm not doing all this stuff. I'm not that guy. I put my heart out there. If you stomp on it, then I just take it for what it is.
See,
but that's it.
So in a sense, you kind of act in a innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah,
with evidence, right? You don't operate off assumptions.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to. I can't. You can't live that way. What kind of relationship would you be in if I'm always wondering about what she's doing, who she's messing around with? Is she messing around with somebody? I can't handle that. I wouldn't be happy.
I wouldn't be happy either. But I think that the freedom I like too, like to be an adult and to make responsible choices and to know that somebody on the other side is very aware that I'm making those responsible choices. My phone is not blowing up. I travel a lot. My phone's not blowing up. Like I call when I call. If I don't, doesn't matter. Like it's.
Yeah, I still want to know that she's safe. It's my wife.
I'm not saying I don't act irresponsibly. What I'm saying is,
Right.
I have a lot of freedom, and that's something I appreciate. And I had expressed that to my brother on one of my trips. I had went to Kansas City with my brother, and I was like, you see, my phone hasn't rang at all. Like, he is not worried. Like, he's not pressed where I am, and I kind of like that. I'm gonna call him, but I kind of like that. I didn't have to.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, part of that is the reason your phone number one, I trust you infinitely. Two, we have 4 kids. So I'm watching.
Oh, yeah. So
man.
you already busy.
Yeah.
I
So
get
I'm
it.
pretty busy. But
Right.
even if we didn't, if I didn't trust her, you wouldn't have stolen my last name, and made it better. all
Nobody
that
stole
stuff.
your last name.
No,
He offered it on a silver platter.
Hey, come on, somebody.
Yeah.
Come
I
on,
like that.
somebody.
I like
The-
you heard what he said, right?
I heard what he said,
Okay.
B. I heard it.
I just
Let me
love the
get off.
fact that she hears what I be saying from other people. So then in a sense, it validates. Because I always say, if you hear from one person, okay. But if you hear the same thing from multiple people, maybe you might want to consider
Mhm,
what's being said.
mhm.
Just a thought.
And I do consider it, and I love freedom as well. And I love giving freedom
But-
until, not a but, because that negates everything. I love giving
Okay,
freedom
okay.
until there is a reason that I maybe should kind of hone in a little bit.
All I'm saying is you just maybe need to let that leash, not so short,
Leash.
not so short.
Okay.
You have to be comfortable with it. I think to
Yeah.
be that way, and if you listen to me or talk to me, I'm very black and white about things.
Mhm.
So to be that comfortable with somebody that's just kind of my personality, and it has to work with the person. Like, I trust her because I trust her. It all rolls up. I love her because of this. I mean, she's bad, we know that, but all the rest of that
Yeah.
stuff works with it. I trust her. She's intelligent, all that stuff. And I know she loves me. Therefore, I can be, all right, she's going to be away for a week and she's not going to mess with anybody because
Mhm.
she recognizes what's here. Not everybody can do that.
Right.
And it's especially big for me because the big relationship before this one was a really bad relationship where I was cheated on just crazy. So I got to the point where I was like, I'm not taking anymore. So I got to that point. It's not organically, it kind of got thrown in my face. So if I'm going to get with anybody, it's because I know what it feels like on the other side. So if I'm going to marry or be in a real relationship with somebody, I have to trust the infinite. And that's a hard thing to do.
But then how did you get to the point where you could trust infinitely after that situation?
It took a minute. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
It took a minute after that relationship just messed me up for a while. I had my fun. I did my shenanigans and such after that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm a whole thing. I had all issues with family and trust and all those kind of things. But it was really meeting her. And we were friends first. And she had kids before she met me. So 2 of our kids she had in a previous relationship. And I got to know her and trust was built. Obviously, I was physically attracted to her, but when we talked and the relationship grew, and I'm like, this is somebody I can take the risk. I can take the plunge and I can hope for the best. I didn't trust her infinitely. Not immediately,
Right.
but we
Okay.
got there. And that takes time. That's every relationship. There's always going to be something. You got to put in time, you got to put in effort. But once you get there, once I'm like, okay, we're together,
Mhm.
no more concerns. I trust.
So there
you.
was not approving, but a way that she proved how trustworthy she was.
Right. But that's every relationship, right?
Yeah.
No matter
Yes.
the person has to be true, to show themselves to be trustworthy, to be mature, to be emotionally available, all the buzzwords that are out there now, all the stuff. And it's always been the case. And like you said, I guess the difference between me and you is that if somebody breaks that trust by cheating, I'm not fixing it. I don't rein in the leash. I cut it because it's a wrap.
You need to cut it. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the difference. So if I trust you, I'm not tooting my own horn, but if I trust you, you've earned it and you must be good. Don't do something to lose it because you don't get a second chance.
That part. See, I think my chances, the time that I give chances now are just shorter. It's like, okay, you need to.
Yeah, but I think you need, I just would like to see more of an opportunity first.
You're given an opportunity.
Yeah, yo, listen, ma'am.
Sir.
You give opportunities, but your opportunities is like, well, you did this, so now I can't trust you.
No, it's like, so now we're done.
See? Yeah.
Because I've allowed the things to build up before and kept excusing.
What things?
Different things before.
Okay.
And different scenarios.
Within this isolated,
within
this
situation.
within this isolated situation. We're not talking about previous situations that led you to be who you are today. We're talking about this isolated situation. Things happen that led you.
I told you.
Okay. Okay.
I'm here. So I have a question for you. So
Yes.
if a man is whoever's in a relationship with you, are they allowed to have imperfections and you stay around for them?
That's a good question.
Yes.
You see how fast he turned?
Watch. Yeah, I think I will answer. I think yes. If in her words,
It's my turn.
I know, but
It's my
in
turn.
your words,
He's talking. Quiet.
communication being the key, and if they're transparent, is pretty much what she'll say.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
I'm just making sure I answered it right.
Oh, okay.
Did I answer it right?
You answered
Okay,
right.
then. Why are you trying to come for me?
High five,
Thank
King.
you. See?
Yay, love.
But yeah, like I said though, I think the thing that I've been trying to stress with her is
This is not an intervention for me.
it's
sir.
not no. But I'm just like, but I mean, I think it shows the difference between us. Whereas, like, I think a lot of times you can be black and white. And with me, I'm like, yeah, things are black and white, but there is this whole gray area that you have to learn how to operate and navigate in, because it's not always just cut and dry.
Yes.
It's not always just cut and dry. Because I'm like, you can operate in that black or white, and if they do something and you're just like, I'm done. Well, but hold on. My friend over here talks about past traumas and previous experiences. So you don't necessarily know what's been going on with them or what they've been dealing with or what they've gone through. So if you don't operate within this gray area to see what's going on first before you make this clear-cut black and white decision, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Which we have discussed.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
We have discussed not necessarily justifying or excusing the behavior, but having some understanding and awareness.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that all comes with the whole dating process,
taking time
to date, because I feel like, especially nowadays, when you see people when they date, it's just like you meet today, you're dating tomorrow, and then a week later you guys are moving in together, and I'm just like, well, you don't even really know that person. You haven't even taken the time to really get to know like how they are, who they are, what they are, or anything. Like, so that's why I say, you can casually date, there's exclusivity when dating. So there's steps, and that you go through the process before you say, okay, hey, I want to be in a committed relationship with you. Because I think that the dating process is what saves you the trouble of jumping into a relationship, and then you see all these red flags that you would have had the opportunity to see if y'all had have dated, but now you're together, and then you almost feel obligated to stay in this relationship, even though these red flags could be a huge problem. And and rather than getting out, you're like, well, I have to stay and try to make it work.
because I've invested time.
Yeah.
And
You've
energy.
invested a lot. Well, what I am thinking about is if you think there's any sort of influence that maybe reality TV or social media, because everything is kind of more enhanced, fast paced, like
Yes.
go, go, go. We're getting married at first sight. We're thinking love is blind and we're getting engaged. Like we're like, everything is fast.
Yes.
You think that there's an influence there that might be pushing people to be like, oh, you know what? If we're gonna be in love, we're in love and we need to like do this like now.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's crazy how society really dictates what's the norm and what's right and what's wrong. And I just, especially with social media, I'm old school. I've had women that lose interest because I move too slow. But my thing is, I'm just like, hey, I need to know what I'm getting myself into. You know, I want to know what I'm investing my time in, because I don't, I can't deal in, maybe that's the more logical side of me in that regard, which is probably an issue that I've learned, is I've been more logical than just operating within my feelings. But I think that's a trait that an Aquarius tends to have issues with, is expressing their feelings and sharing their feelings. But like, no, I need to see what I'm dealing with. I need to get to know you. I need all that. I need all that before I just be like, hey, let's be together. Because no, I'm not especially with me, and I love hard. And no, I'm like, no, you're not gonna get me out of my feelings. And then I find out you crazy. Like,
Healing,
and then,
healing.
Okay, healing. Sorry, I get it.
Hate the word crazy.
I know you hate the word crazy, but it is what it is. Because there are some folks out there
that are healing and need more healing.
Then that is the political way of saying crazy.
I get it. I get it.
They said
you don't
that
want to
we
be
can,
Kim K. You wake
BS,
up one
yeah.
day, you realize you married to Kanye and he's not totally
Yeah.
well. I get it.
yeah.
I get it.
And so, yeah, I need, even if it's just a preview of all the many different sides of you, I need to see that, just so I can make that, educated decision, empowered decision, to be like, I think I can handle this, or this is too much. I'm good.
Whereas I'm always the hopeless romantic,
Yeah.
like love at first sight. Steve Harvey saw Marjorie, there's my wife, but then it's like 20 years. Why don't y'all just get married on the set?
Yeah, no.
So that's me. And it's like, even if we meet somebody, like I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta be the flower girl. Like I'm all hyped, and he's like, you just moving too fast, Mo. You move.
Like, we just hung out one time.
Yeah.
We went on one date.
And I'm like, calculate, yes.
No. Yeah.
But
because you're quick to be like, well, do I get to meet her? I was like, listen,
right.
when it's somebody that I feel as if important, I'll bring them around. But if I don't bring them around, they trust me.
Right, because I literally keep a file, not a whole lot of people, but
Just put me on blast, huh?
No, but like even people at work, like that you may talk about who have nothing romantic. I just keep a file, right? And I'm like, how are they doing? He's like, Morgan, if there's somebody who is like significant, you will know. Yes. You will know. So whereas I'm like, B, you need to meet him. We just met 2 weeks ago.
Right.
you do your screener with your logical stuff, so then I know if it's cool, because
Yeah, because you like 0 to 100 real quick. And I'm like, let me go take this good drive on cruise control. Right. I'll get there when I get there.
Right. Yeah.
So that's dope.
Well,
I think we complement each other though. It's like a yin and a yang.
Yeah, because I'm like, be listen, if it's for real, like you need to move. You take a long time, brother, but sometimes you do need to move or be a little bit more direct. Like she's not picking up on this cue. So, and then B would be like, Mo, you're a little intense. Back up.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely yin and yang, but
kind of working off of that then. So we're kind of talking about dating and such. So I think one thing that's big right now is standards that people have for each other. So since I'm gonna start with you, D, do you have a list, or do you have like, what standards do you have for somebody that you might date? A few things that they have to bring to the potential relationship.
It's funny you should ask that, because that's one thing that I've been Thinking about more so than ever before, because I think a lot of times I would used to be like, oh, I think she's attractive, so let me go talk to her and get a vibe from her. I used to operate more on a vibe and not necessarily what you bring to the table. But I'm learning now that I'm like, okay, so the past hasn't really worked out like that. So let me see what you bring to the table. And like, because now I'm looking at things like I need somebody that I can build with. Like I don't want to have to do everything myself or you do everything yourself. I just need us to come together and then just go from there. So I mean, I do have standards now. They're not like rock solid or
The
anything
gray
like
area.
that. I don't have a list per se or nothing like that. Not like my sis here. She has a list. You do.
I have black
But-
and white. He has gray.
But I think I do look for more, I need more substance, and I think I need more things that are, more solid than before, where I'm just like, I can work with that. Like, I don't need a project anymore, basically. Like, I need somebody who is put together and is coming with it so we can get together and do great together.
Mhm.
So yeah, because I guess I have been known to take on projects in my day, and then it ends up stressing me and bringing me down, because I'm just like, I know where I could be right now, but it's harder for me to get there because I'm carrying the both of us, So yeah, I'm realizing that standards are necessary now, especially. So yes, I do have standards. They're not
Okay.
concrete. They're not, but I do have some things that I'm looking for now.
Growing up.
Oh,
Just
listen at
in
you.
your 40 years.
Listen at
In your
you.
40 years.
For your eyes grow so fast.
That's it. No, because that's a big deal, because we just talked about like non-negotiables and
Yeah.
different things a couple weeks ago. So it's huge that you've been processing that and
Yeah.
are aware.
I mean, I won't necessarily say that I have non-negotiables though,
I know.
but I do have things that I look for. And if you don't have them, when I operate in my gray area, I give you the opportunity to show me or prove to me that, like,
You
okay,
do.
this may not be my strong suit, but this is something that I'm willing to work on for the betterment of us. So, and if I see
You
that,
do.
then I'm like, okay, I can work with that. It's like my mom used to always tell me, she says that I'm willing to do anything for you. I will go to the moon and back for you. Whatever you need, I'll give it to you. But I just need to see that you are actively working towards that as well.
Mhm.
If I see the effort, I got you 100%. But I need to see that effort first. When I see that effort, I'll work with you. I got your back. I'll do whatever you need, support, everything. I just need to see the effort there first.
Yeah. That's real. That's real. And I think like going to the somebody mentioned like just they were checking BNI and they're like I'm Morgan and they're a friend of mine, but they said I think you found somebody who loves as hard as you do. And so that's the thing with B, like he definitely loves hard, but he's gonna take a while to give that out. But then once he's locked in, it's solid, and it's like you don't see that, So whereas for me, as far as standards, I do have some initial ones. I do. I do a background check.
Yes.
Okay.
But the reason being, like, there's always reason. You know how it's like procedures aren't set in place until like somebody actually does something, right? So it's like no dogs at the pool because somebody brought their dog to the pool and they bit everybody and got so it's like
so extreme.
But the situation was extreme where I did not do a background check and found out the person had outstanding warrants. And it's like, if we rode together in the car, we were at places like that could have affected me, my son, and everything else.
Yes.
So, but I didn't know, right? So it's important for me to have safety. And so I do look at background checks, but I give grace in knowing that people can be redeemed and that there is redemption, right? But if you have something outstanding like recent, I'm gonna at least ask you about it. I'm gonna ask you about it.
Ask first and then do the background check later? Like, is it like, first date, we're getting to know each other, anything I should
First
know about-
conversation. Because it's like, do we even need to go any further?
Okay.
Can you be transparent about what you've done, good, bad, or ugly? Because I'm going to be transparent about what I've done, good, bad, or ugly, even if I have not been caught on paper.
I disagree, though.
I know you do. We've got into
Yeah,
this.
we have. I disagree.
He definitely disagrees. But see, but for me, the issue is because B has a longer fuse. I have a very short one, and I know myself. So it's like I need to just figure it out before I really like go all in. And then I'm like, I'm here, ride or die. And then we dying. And then I have a child. So it's like, it's not just me anymore. And I have to think about that a little bit more.
I get it.
Absolutely.
But even still, like, I don't feel as if I need to tell you that I'm a felon on my first date, because then you're going to just bounce. What if you just bounce?
Because
like,
I like to go to the shooting range. Felons can't have guns. They can't have guns and can't shoot.
Okay.
In the house. So
But
I'm like, that's something that we need to establish up front, and that's necessary to know. I do like safety.
Wow.
That's fair. I would say the stuff that I didn't get caught about on paper, though, that stuff I might not reveal, especially on a first date. Like, you don't need to know where all the bodies are buried yet.
Thank you.
Right. So I'm gonna just check it out before
But you
we
be wanting
go.
to have that
As long
conversation.
as it's not on paper,
Yeah, no, not like I ain't revealing everything that, but it's like the stuff that may affect us that you may like. I don't want to get 3 months down the road and you're like, man, I'm all in. And then you find something out. I don't want that to where we have to like have a discussion. You have to think about whether or not you can deal with it. No, I'm going to tell you, not within the first date, like as we're going through things and talking and discussing, because it's like, if I'm coming and asking you questions, I'm going to answer the same ones. I just feel like that's fair. If I want transparency, I'm going to give transparency and communication. So it's like, I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do.
Okay.
Right. So then the standard two, which I learned from my brother, is, basically having your own place, having your own job, having your own car. And then for me, I added having a purpose, like knowing, like not necessarily like all in the bag, like exactly what you're here for, but knowing that you at least have a purpose and that you have something to lose. Because if you don't have feel like you have something to lose, like if you're not actively pursuing something, a dream, something, it's easier for you to throw your life away, but then it's going to affect mine too. So that's really the standard for me. I mean, I need them to smell good.
Yeah,
I can't have you stinking.
Don't have stinky breath.
Please don't. Please.
And
Hygiene is important.
Hygiene.
That's fair to say.
Gene's on
Yeah.
everybody's little
Hygiene,
standards
yeah.
list. That's the foundation upon which we build all other standards. It's just hygiene.
Hygiene. And my family will roast you, and my friends will absolutely roast you. So don't know. I'm trying to save you, sir. Like
Use the breath mint.
100% before we go. Listen. You ate that garlic aioli? It was fire, but come on, let's go and brush some teeth before we go up in here. Like, ooh, where old garlic breath at? Nah, you can't, because we give people nicknames.
We do, yeah.
Nah, man. Mm-mm. So those are my standards, and I feel like I can hit gray area in certain ones, right?
As long as you see the effort. I think that's
The
huge.
effort.
The effort.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like,
need you to have a job.
Everybody has their moments where they're in between or
Right.
they're down. But as long as you're actively working towards bettering yourself or getting to that point where you have your own house or your own car or whatever the case may be, job, I can work with you. But if you ain't if you ain't got no job or whatever the case, and you ain't actively trying to get no job, and I'm like, sis, why is you dating him?
Right, but I think honestly, when we talk about dating, I think men give women more leeway than women can afford to give men leeway.
Okay.
And
Because
afford.
what'd you say?
And afford. That's interesting.
Yes.
Go
Why?
ahead.
Elaborate.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Y'all are a
Please.
trip.
so I feel like men enjoy saving. I'm going to use the term Captain Save a Hoe. Like they enjoy, helping a woman and
We enjoy?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
providing or just being there to, give.
Right.
That's not
To be
really
like
a
I've
woman-
literally had somebody be like, where can I help you at? And so then it's like, well, you can help me by being my companion, like being, you know what I'm saying? Like but I feel like men are just like, oh, you ain't got that stuff? Okay, I got it. I'll move you in. I'll give you rides, baby. I'll do whatever else. Whereas there's more women who are at different points in their lives, or they may have children or wherever, where there are some who's like, the lady that her man's driving her car and going to see other women or whatever. But
I mean, there's a few.
But I feel like there's more men but most of the time, in my experience, the women are more stable. So it's like, she's gonna drive your car or whatever, but she ain't going to creep or nothing like that. But so where I say afford, I feel like just like women naturally matures quicker than men. So it's like if we're at a certain point in our lives,
here we go with that again. I know
there's science behind it, sir.
Okay, science. Okay,
there's science behind it. But we naturally mature quicker. So it's like a lot of times we obtain more quicker, and we can't afford to have somebody like hinder that or risk it. And if we do, it's like they better be on point. Whereas men are like, they're more like, I feel like women are more like giving, but men are more solid, logical. So it's like, she ain't gonna affect it if she does.
No, I just think society, and especially with social media being able to push this whole agenda. So it's just like, oh, if this man ain't making all kinds of money and I ain't getting flued out, as they say, or, if you really love me, cash at me. No, because that's the huge thing.
It is.
Like I get what you're saying.
Outlier, though.
You said what?
I feel like that woman's the outlier, though. I feel like the majority of women want you to at least pay for the dates. If we're going out, pay for the dates. Be able to do that. But I feel like the outliers are the one who want all this extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as uncommon as you think.
Like you said, we're kind of, we've been out of the dating scene.
I'm out of the dating scene.
I'm just gonna tell you, like, it's like, because I don't know how much you guys like are on social media and like Facebook or whatever the case may be, but like I'll be seeing memes where they'll be like, it's always what you're doing, or not what bill you need paid, or you know what I'm saying, like, oh, cash up your woman $20 or $200 so she can get her hair and nails done. I'm just like,
$20?
Why? I said 200. I fixed it.
I'm like, $20 ain't doing nothing.
But I'm like, why I need to do all of that? Like, it's not that I don't have a problem doing all that, but from jump, like, you want me to do all this extra from jump? I'm like, nah, I'm good.
And for me, I'm like, you ain't about to sit here and say I wouldn't have this without you. But there are some people who are like, I don't care whatever you say, I want this and this. So,
but yeah, no, I don't
know. I would have a question. Like, if you can't get your hair and your nails done or whatever on your own, then like, what were you doing before me? That would be my question. Mm-hmm. But I don't know any of those women who have wanted that kind of stuff. I don't.
Maybe pause the tape.
You know them. You may not know you know them.
You can't name not one of them to me off camera. You can't name not one.
Write it down.
Well, what I could say is that if I were in this, I see what you're talking about in terms of social media, in terms of expectations and what it requires to date. I would be a problem in this dating world right now because I'm not giving you a dime. I'm not. I'm like you. I'm older than you. I am. What's the term? I'm used to just taking care of dates or opening the door. I'm chivalrous and all this stuff. That's the way I've always been.
Right.
That's just how I am, but I'm not paying for
Thank
you to
you.
get your hair. I'm not paying for you to get your nails done. I would rather see you the way you are on a regular Wednesday as opposed to how I set you up. There's certain I'm not that guy. I mean, chances are, I don't know, when I date you or that first date, I want to see you at your best or at your regular self. And if I have to put all that work in and you can't, hmm,
Mhm.
That part.
maybe we're just not meant to be. It's just. But I'd be a problem if I was dating right now. This I
Mhm.
wouldn't work out
Yeah.
because I'd be like, nah, I can't deal with you. What you need this? No, I can't do that.
Yeah, no,
I'm not that
like
guy.
if I offer, that's one thing.
Yeah. Like
That's the
you want to
difference.
give me a
Like
gift?
let me
Yeah.
offer, but you gonna off
Expect?
top you gonna expect and require? Oh, you missed it. Go ahead to the next guy. Go ahead, go ahead to the next guy that's gonna pay that. Cause
Mhm.
I'm like, to me, your intentions don't even seem real and genuine anyway. If you already asking me for money and you don't even know me like that, I'm like, maybe you need to get yourself together first. So you ain't even got to
Like
ask me
that.
for no money.
Like that.
But you know,
We so we've talked to couples when we do this podcast, but we have you two as friends, and I think I'm going to try to kind of tweak the question that we ask couples at the end.
okay.
And we ask couples, why are you better because of the relationship that you're in with that particular spouse?
Mhm.
So I'm going to throw that to you two. B, why are you a better man because of this friendship you have with him?
Oh, here we go. I will say that I think she makes me think more so as far as like how can I put this? Okay, so the best way that I would the best way I could say is this, like me knowing how I am, and again I reference my Aquarius, I can be super logical, like, and everything is just like, well, that don't make sense, and I don't necessarily think with my feelings or think about how somebody may feel in that situation. So I do think she helps me tap into that,
Mhm.
which is huge for me because I can be like, well, that doesn't make sense. And then I'll just shut you down. And I'm not even trying to hear what you have to say or how you feel because I'm like, well, that makes absolutely no sense how you feel that way. Like there's no reason for you to feel that way. So it really helps me to be open to sharing my feelings. And I think my last relationship taught me this as well.
Mhm.
Is being able to share my feelings and being more emotionally vulnerable, which is hard. I think it's hard in general for men because that word vulnerable just seems to have a negative connotation with it. But I'm realizing that there has to be a level of vulnerability within your relationship to give that woman a sense of security within that relationship that, okay, he is fully opening himself up to me, which allows them to feel safe, which in turn uh, gives them that secure feeling that they can be feminine and submissive, and operate within their femininity. Is that
Femininity.
Yeah, femininity. There we go. But I think that's huge for me because like even looking back on previous relationships, like I had one relationship where we had been dating for a while and I would help her out when she needed it, if she needed help on a bill or whatever the case may be. I had my place, she had her own place. I wasn't, financially sound where I could do that. Well, I just logically, I was like, well, we should just move in together because then your bills become my bills and I'm not paying two sets of bills.
Right.
Well, hindsight 2020, looking back on that, that was not a very good reason to want to move in with your significant other. I think there should have been more of an emotional one, like I want to move in with this, but I want to live with my, and so it's like I'm realizing I'm learning how to operate within my feelings and emotions and being able to tap into that, whereas before it was definitely not an easy thing for me. And so like that's huge for me, because I think it's definitely made me a better person. So now I don't seem like this robot who's like emotionless, and just kind of just like that, it doesn't make sense, does not compute, and stuff like that. So like that's huge for me. And I think that with us doing this podcast, it's definitely opened my eyes up to a lot emotionally, which is huge, because you got to be able to communicate your emotions with women being emotionally based and driven. So it's like that's a level of communication that you got to be able to tap into in order to make the relationship work. So
I like that.
Kudos. Okay.
you did that.
Hey, praise Jesus. Look. Just kidding. So for me, how our friendship has helped me is in many, many ways. Childhood trauma to me said men are not good and they are dangerous, and I have to always protect myself. And oh Lord, I'm not about to share. But like be consistently being there, because people said you and B have been doing podcasts since y'all were little. like you just now have a platform for it. But B always being someone that I could go to with the good, bad, or ugly as a friend. Like solidified that, and then not trying anything like extra, like not utilizing the situation or manipulating the situation for something that wasn't within friendship, holding the boundaries, but yet being someone safe, has shown me that men can be safe. In fact, even when I was going to college, my mom was very concerned about me because I was so comfortable with B and my guy friends because they were safe places, that she's like, you're going to go to school. Because it's like, finally, I get to let down my armor. But then she's like, you're going to go to school and think every guy is a safe place. I mean, even like up a year ago, I was going on a first date and I was telling a friend, I'm like, I just feel like this is my brother and he should protect me. And she's like, Morgan, that don't even make sense. It's scary. Like, don't do that. Don't go into it like that. And I'm like, you're right. But B has been a place of safety. B has been a place of consistency for me. And B is really one of, like Jill Scott says, she says, if you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. Not like that though, but like B knows how to like tell me, Morgan, you're tripping. Morgan, that ain't what it is. No. And listen to me, and so, and with me being able to consider the source, like, this is my brother, he cares about me, and he's not gonna just like try to get at me or manipulate or betray me. So, he's been a place of consistency, safety, but also correction in a way, accountability in some situations. And to see that I can have that in a male friend has actually helped me be open to pursuing, other friendships with men. And it's also taught me how to have a conversation with a man that just doesn't automatically go to seduction, because a lot of women do that with men. And so they skip that level of friendship because they don't know really how to talk to men. But because I know how to talk to B and EC and other males, my brothers, like, I'm able to really have a conversation, and men are just like, you really got me thinking, instead of, oh, you got me without, right. I mean, that comes, but it's like, no, like, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to build a friendship because I know what that looks like. And so for that, I appreciate you for real in our friendship.
This is a fantastic conversation.
I
love it. I like Black love in every way. Romantic, platonic, just happy. What I like about you two really are the different sides of the coin. You really do work well with each other.
Thank you.
I had other questions, but I can't keep you all day. Maybe when we do this again, we'll do a part 2.
That's it. Yes.
But this has been really fun, really good to talk I like talking to Black people. It just does
That's
something.
it.
Yeah, oh,
That's
yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
I do. I love it.
Yes. So
So
thank you again for having
Yes,
us
thank you for having
and
us.
for
We had
us
a great
allowing,
time.
yes, we did, and for allowing us to do the crossover. This is dope.
Of course.
More
Of
to
course.
come.
Yes.
No doubt.
We're super excited. And Harvey, on our end, I think we've definitely learned that love is perspective.
Perspective.
Yes.
Mhm.
I love that word, baby.
That's
Perspective.
good.
Well did.
Love is many things.
But this good love is Black.